IVM.
Hi, I'm Zarina Poonawalla, your peak performance coach, life coach, emotional intelligence practitioner, and NLP practitioner. I'm also the founder of Abso Expertise Unique, and my organization constantly aims at building leaders across continents. After having worked with so many dynamic business honchos, entrepreneurs, startups, CEOs, management gurus, parents, and student communities worldwide, I am convinced that every individual has unleashed potential, and all we really need to do is realize it. Watch the magic unfold, enhance quality of life, relationships, and professions. On my show, be ready for some riveting conversations with inspirational people, snippets, stories, and much more. So here I am on this exceptional journey to find empowerment and inspiration anywhere I can. Come join me on this breathtaking path of self-realization, potential maximization, positivity, and most of all, embrace your inner power. You are on your way to empowering yourselves. Welcome to the Empowering Series with Zarina Poonawalla.
Dear Mowgli, Baba, whom you fondly called Tux, was not only my father, he was an extraordinary friend as well. He was a person with whom I could chat about everything. He was loving and warm and used to make me feel safe. He always had a smile on his lips, a twinkle in his eyes, and he was there for everyone. My memory of Baba, your Tux, is of a person who was exceptionally kind and trusting. He wasn't like anybody we saw around us. He was truly unique. We shared a rich, meaningful, and a very special relationship. He taught me to be kind, strong, knowledgeable, and helpful. To always be there for friends, to never be affected by wealth, disappointment, or fame, and to handle failures and success with equanimity. I also learned from him how to break into a guffaw, and equally importantly, how to be serious when the occasion requires it. As for you, Mowgli, you have completely altered my life. I was a self-absorbed person till the time you came into my life. After that, my eyes turned away from myself towards you. As you grew up, I saw in you a kind, warm, simple, and bright person. I'm extremely proud that you have grown into a loving human being. You have showed me that your generation has so much to offer to mankind. I want you to mark your own path, my dear baby. And remember that there isn't anything that you cannot deal with. However, there will be times when you are unable to find solutions for certain problems. Then, do not hesitate to reach out to those who can support you, so that you can together deal with such challenges. My greatest joy is that you already have within you the values I cherish. You are kind, understanding, and always there for others. You treat everyone around you with respect and love. I have seen you treat men and women equally, referring to your friends as buddy. I even remember asking you if buddy is a girl or a boy. I want you to keep doing that as you go through this beautiful but chaotic life. Make time for others. Develop virtual relationships too. Not to get anything out of it, but just for the joy of cultivating friendships. You are blessed, my dear, with an amazing set of friends, relatives, and extended family. Stay in touch with them and be around. Allow them to contribute to your life as you contribute to theirs. When it comes to challenges and dangers, I know you don't take these very seriously. I've seen you sailing through every situation. However, as you march ahead in life and new challenges come your way, stay in tune with what is happening around you. Remember that at times, old or tried and tested ideas and solutions may no longer work. Remember, many a times, old or tried and tested ideas and solutions may no longer work. Instead, you will need to find new ways of getting over hurdles. All that matters is that you know what you are doing is right and feel happy doing it. I have complete faith in you and in your ability to gauge what works and what doesn't. You are a bright and intelligent person, dear Mowgli. You are sensitive of your rich and varied heritage. As you travel through this world, crisscrossing different cultures, learn to appreciate the uniqueness you bring to the world. It is an identity inherited from your family, your country, and your own experiences. As you travel and learn more about the West, remember the principle. Get the best of the West and the East and absorb them both. As I see you growing older and wiser, I often wonder, how will I appear in your memories? Well, I would like you to know that of all that I have done and all that I will do, being your father is what I cherish the most in my life. So even as you step away from us to study abroad, I hope you know that a part of my heart goes with you. I am very proud that you are an amazing and extraordinary young lad. And I know that wherever you will go, you will continue to contribute to the world. As for my advice to you, there is no message and there is no mantra. Keep living an inspired life. Keep doing things that bring a smile to your face and do the same to the people around you. Lots of love. Cheers. Hugs. Baba.
Hello and welcome to the Empowering Series with me, Zarina. On today's episode, I'm in conversation with a performer par excellence, an actor worthy of accolades, a motivational speaker powerfully impacting lakhs across the globe, and most of all, a doting father. Please welcome stalwart and inspiration, Ashish Vidyarthi. Hi, Ashish.
Swagat hai aapka. Wonderful.
आपका बहुत स्वागत है, and thank you for making my 100th episode of the Empowering Series so special.
So very happy to be part of this journey of yours. Super.
I am so glad you could make it. So how have you been, Ashish?
I've been great, and we've been doing some interesting things. And so essentially, we all have stories of times, right? And I've been trying to weave some interesting stories about this time because this time is with us, right, Zarina? And,
absolutely.
So we're doing some interesting things. We're also being naughty in this time. And, not to take this very seriously yet, to be careful. So it's mixed feelings, mixed bag. Welcome to life.
Absolutely. And your journey as an actor, as a professional, as an artist has always been applauded. I've seen your work. It's fantastic. But most of all, there's this letter that I came across that you'd written to your son. I believe he was going to university. And you've written a letter to him. It was an open letter. I found it on the internet. And I said, this is such a beautiful way of expressing your emotions as a parent. And I knew that I wanted to have this discussion with you at some point, So tell us about your journey, not only as a professional, but also a father.
So Zarina, first things first is that journeys are not always applauded. Okay, and that is something interesting about a journey. A journey has moments.
True.
And there are moments of accolade and moments of brickbats, moments of being completely ignored. And what happens to us after any one of those instances actually determines our life. I much look at life like a drive. And in that drive, there are very many things that happen, very many things. We are continuously in movement, things are moving, and then things seem to come to a standstill, like at a traffic junction or in a jam. Things come to a standstill. And you say it's come to a standstill, but it's not. Time is moving, people are moving, things are happening. So for me, I've been a student of life. And since I was an only child, so I had a lot of time with myself. And I never liked being lonely. So I used to weave stories. I used to weave stories of playing Wimbledon. And I used to be all alone in the afternoons at home. And many of Wimbledons I have won, playing against some imaginary opponent, hitting the ball against the wall. And I knew that I would be scolded later that evening by my mother. Scolding would be an understatement because marks would be left on that wall. But yes, I heard the ovation of the audience, the spectators. I heard, oh, missed a point. I used to play act, all that. So my journey has been one in which there have been a lot of created characters around. And as I've become an adult, if I may admit, nothing has changed, my friend. I keep seeing things and I keep interacting with human beings, some of them who are not even there, some thoughts. That's my way of navigating through life.
Right.
And it might seem a bit crazy. I won't accuse you. I won't feel bad if you feel so. But we have to find ways to energize our journey. And this is my way of doing it.
Crazy is fantastic because I think even madness has its own method. So I am not at all judging you. In fact, I think it's inspirational to think that somebody can weave their own stories and narrate their own perception and make their own reality. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. And the interesting point is, Zarina, is that when we acknowledge that we are going through certain things and when there is nothing to hide in that, that's a great space for you to actually keep moving. And there is a thin line. I must admit that. There is a thin line between delusion and, having a creative imagination. And therefore, that particular line that you mentioned about having a method to your madness is a must. And I dare say that as an actor, or even before that, just growing up in a house where my parents were much older than me, and I was really scared what will happen if they die. All right. So I knew that, so in that moment of fear and, these people used to keep me company. But at the same time, I knew that I had to create results in real life. So that kept me glued to things that are real. And it's no different now. So anything that works for us is a mantra that I share. What works for you? It might be the best thing for somebody else. If it's not working for you, alter it. And if something is working for you, it really is working for you. It is adding value to your life. And somebody else says, "Arey, what a stupid way of doing it." But if it works for you, don't tweak it. Okay, let it work. And then keep tweaking it as you move. So just an honest admission to yourself that each one of us is a different rendition of life, my friend.
Absolutely.
Same life. Okay, somebody's saying I'm a parent, somebody's saying I'm a sibling, a professional, an actor, a speaker, a traveler. And yet we have our own renditions of that particular profession, that particular role. And when we can get okay with it, that's in a way, Zarina, in fact, the conversation that we had earlier, we said that if you can be okay with your skin is actually if you're okay with your voice, your rendition of life. And I look forward to this conversation.
That's fantastic. I truly believe in what you said, Ashish, about the fact that if something's working out for you, don't tweak it. You can't fix what's not broken. So just leave it as it is, I believe. Well, the whole journey, like you mentioned, that it's not just accolades. So there are challenges. Oh, yeah. And challenges are really something that create a person's success story, I believe, more than the struggle story, isn't it? So what kind of, a challenging, let's not say journey, but let's say phases, situations, and scenarios, circumstances have you had, and how have you overcome these challenges, even as a father, Ashish?
Yeah. So, I mean, just look at it. Just look at it for any one of us. There are certain things we want, all right? So if we are getting what we want, there is no challenge, all right? It's going great. Congratulations. Then there are areas, a lot of areas for each one of us, which are not happening the way we want it.
Correct.
That's the place which we call as challenges. Now, through the years, huge challenges, right from beginning to wanting to be an actor, growing up in a very protected environment, thanks to my mother, a Bengali mother, and a very caring father, very protected environment. And the challenge was that I was sweet enough to enjoy their love and affection, but also bright enough to realize that the world outside is slightly different from what I'm getting at home.
Sure.
So the challenges happen, and challenges are scary, all right? So for me, that was scary, that I have to go out and earn money, you know? And I could see that I'm not an engineer or a doctor, not going in that direction. And yet I had the responsibility. So consider the challenge is the stuff which you're very scared of, and what you're scared of, what you're most challenged by, that's going to be the broken skin from where new shoots are going to develop. So really allowing, and since then, over the years, as I've, the only way you and I grow, Zarina, are from places where we are challenged, where we are vulnerable. Because that is where we haven't developed a thick skin.
Yeah.
So, and the thick skin is a very important part of this conversation, because, we get obstinate about certain things. I promise you, obstinacy is the, complete opposite of any sort of growth. But where you are not obstinate, where you cannot be obstinate, you in fact get hurt, that's where you're going to grow. And so a thing which is to be really inculcated ongoingly is not to show off your thick skin, but actually to celebrate your vulnerability, because that where you're vulnerable, that is your little voice telling you, hey, listen, this is an area where, I could, yes, people are saying something, and I am also saying that. Can you do something about it? For me, so right from there to being a father, and, I kind of, my wife, Pilu, is very calm and very mature. And I'm getting there. I'm 55 and I'm getting there. And I'm trying to be mature. And this journey has been, being a father suddenly. I didn't realize that I'd become a father. And I became a father 20 years back. So I would have been 45. So it's not that I was a greenhorn, but I felt like one. The joy of holding Mowgli, as Art's pet name is, as I held Mowgli in my arms, I couldn't believe it that I become a father and I have to look after him, look after Pilu. And so I allow these experiences to touch me. Okay, right. I remember the delirious joy, and right next to that joy was, will I be able to do it? I'm not responsible. I'm pretty carefree. How can I do it? What do I? All those things coming in, and through that maze, Zarina, I have weaved my path where I find a lot of joy in unclarity, but I'm not clear. So
you find a lot of joy in unclarity.
Clarity, yes, because clarity is so definite.
Agreed.
Clarity has a right and clarity has a wrong. And unclarity has, I don't know, but I'm going to move. I don't know, but yes, I will. And it has allowed me to make choices, not necessarily knowing that I've never been able to tell people, look, I know it and therefore I got it right. I say, I don't know it and therefore I'm moving. And so even that has been so, even for me, as a parent bringing up Arth, where he and I and Pilu, he and I and others, Pilu and I, we all have had conversations about parenting.
Right.
And for me, those conversations have been conversations of discovery, because I realized that the way that my parents brought me up, they did. And the way their parents brought them up was the way they did. So, which is the right way? We don't know. But as we discover ways which inspire us, and inspiration is a huge part of life, Zarina, because inspiration speaks to you about what is dear to you.
True. That's so true.
So parenting is also a very, very personal journey. It's your personal expression of what parenting is. If you're willing to walk that path and take responsibility of it, it's joyful.
I can imagine. And I can imagine the fact that 20 years of parenting and growing with your son, Mowgli.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then having to see him go off, have his own life, do his own thing at some point.
Yeah.
That can be a moment. Right?
Yeah. It's a moment of abundant joy.
Yes.
It's a moment of feeling that the the child is flying off to new areas, new territory. It's like, oh, it's so much happiness. I'm lying. Man, oh gosh, my son, only child is going to go away. So I'll share this with you.
Right.
When we chose to put him in a international school at some point, because we saw him flowering in so many different ways. So we also knew that he's going to go abroad to study. All right. So at that point, that choice was made. And so there was concern about how we're going to, I said that, I asked a dear friend of mine, I said, how much? And he gave me a figure. I said, all right. So I just kept that figure aside. All right. And the other part was how much, is I asked myself, how much are you going to suffer emotionally? Quite a bit. Okay. So I remember, I was shooting at the Ramoji Film City. It was in January. And in August, he was to leave for the US. And early mornings, I used to, at Ramoji Film City, there's a beautiful walk. So I was walking, and that was a wonderful time, because from January till August, I had a lot of time to cry on my own. I used to take early mornings and just weep. And I remember, talking to friends. One of them was Murli. He was in the US, and he's got an only child. And I shared with him, I said, Murli, I'm completely heartbroken at this point. I'm heartbroken beyond heartbroken. In fact, even if I'm thinking about it right now, Zarina, it is an overwhelming experience when I see myself at that point. The point here is that you want so much of that which is dear, and you want that to remain with you. You want that physical proximity. You want that cuddle. Right. You want the hug, right? And this is it is an important part of you being the human being that you are. You cannot distance yourself from that. And yet you know that, that person has to go. And the funny part is this. So I would weep in the day and all that, early mornings, and then through the day, really composed. And then in the day, you would have a conversation with people, and a friend would say, so how are you, Ashish? Great, yeah. Where are you? I'm here. Okay, great. So what's the plan for Earth? August, he's stepping out. Oh, yeah. So you must be, I'm sure you must be really kind of, like already missing him. But I would say, nahi yaar, usko jana hai. And then they would say, nahi, knowing you, yaar, tu emotional to feel ho raha hoga. And then they would, like do that. And then I would go there. I'll say, haan, yaar, I'm feeling really low and down and out. Yaar. Matlab, yaar, can you believe it? He's going. And then they would say, but why, Ashish? He's going to grow. Come on, let him fly. I said, kaan ke niche dunga tujhe. First you get me there. So the humor of life is this.
Yeah.
You're taking something very seriously, and then, if you can have a laugh at it, because that is what life is. Life is one big mirage. We consider some part of it so real, and we enjoy that reality, which is at that moment. But can we allow it to go away? Because it will. So that's how it is.
It's called the Emptiness Syndrome. When yes, see the words used there, and a syndrome also. So this is what it's called when children go away, leaving their nest, and parents are feeling down and empty.
They're feeling very happy that the child is gone.
Internally, yes, or maybe not. I believe it's a bittersweet experience, and like you said, vulnerability, something to celebrate, right? That you mentioned earlier.
So I'll share something very interesting,
Yeah.
So I said that I will not, years back I discovered, I will not hide my vulnerability. Because it's just then I have to remember something which I'm not to tell you. It's like, so I need some memory. But imagine if I can just say, yeah, today I'm feeling a little low, I'm missing Earth. In fact, this morning, I just called him. I asked Pilu to call him and said, hey, just tell him that I'm missing him. And then he took, why did I ask her to call? Because he takes her call more than he takes my call. Okay, so anyway, he does take my call. But so I said, hi, Mugu, just feeling good, listen to your voice. And that's it. And he's preparing for his midterms anyway. So even in that period, now it's been 3 years since then, but even in that period, as we are thinking about it, and I wrote something on LinkedIn at that point that the child is going away and we're going through some very interesting emotions. And I rationalized it and wrote something. And one comment in LinkedIn really created something amazing for me. Zarina, and I kind of, I don't even remember who did it, but whoever did, thanks. This person shared that just as a child flies out from the nest to create something amazing for herself, imagine if the parents create something so that when the child comes back or during this period, the child also sees. That was a good one for me. I really
That's
got
beautiful.
that. Am I going to be the static in the nest while the child has flown out?
Right.
Or can this be a journey for all of us, for Pilu, me, Arth, as we all have grown? So all three are in movement.
Absolutely.
And as the three are in movement, we three are creating something. And that's something which I share with people. That imagine if it is not that one person is moving out, it is each are moving on to meet again or not. And at different times in life, things can happen. But imagine at this point, we are moving out and we are moving in various other ways, and we are still connected.
Right.
But imagine if we can also create something, even as we watch him create something. That's something which, gives you a task at hand, not just waiting.
That's beautiful. And that's beautifully explained. I think the whole idea of creating something while somebody has moved out, but maybe moved upwards or moving in a direction in life. Everyone has to move on. Everyone has to move ahead, I believe, right?
Onwards, yeah.
Onwards, absolutely. Onwards and upwards. The letter, that particular letter that you wrote, what compelled you to express your feelings through a letter to your son, Ashish? I mean, in times and a day and age of such, digital, let's say, a lot of, technology around us, things moving forward, you can even put in a text message or a WhatsApp message, or you can possibly put something else, but a letter and expressing your emotions like that, Ashish.
So here is something. So that letter came out of somebody reaching out and saying that, would you like to write a letter? And I said, sure. So here is something again, and this again, it's a dichotomy thing, but I'll share that with you. I don't like caged emotions.
Right.
Yeah, they don't do well. I don't like letters which show up later. Remember that?
Yeah.
And you find, oh gosh, he never said that he loved me. He never said that. So therefore, I love to communicate. I don't like to communicate and keep it aside.
Right.
For me, social media has been that amazing thing, my friend. Social media allows, if you want to communicate things that matter to you to people who matter to you. And that time, of course, it was not for social media. It was for a publication, but it was still for a moment beyond just, like I write it and not send it to him, which I wouldn't have otherwise written a letter to him. It seemed very cheesy. What do I write to him? Like, come on, Avid, what is this? But since somebody asked me to, and the other part was that maybe this letter, and that's what the intention of those people was when they asked me to write it, that it'll probably be of some value to someone else.
Correct.
So for me, a letter is really communication. And, a conversation which we are having right now is a communication. It's the communication of what's happening between you and me at this very moment. And then for someone who's listening in, it'll add something to them or not. And that is the wonder, the magic of life. So therefore, we should not hold ourselves back. And therefore, the genesis of this communication to Mowgli, when I wrote that.
And, people often say the role of a father is also that of a friend.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Why only a father? I mean, for me, the role of any person that you meet is also a friend. Because just imagine, I'll just paraphrase it in a way.
Yes.
How many times you've met somebody and we met two people together and we say, hey, Zarina, okay, that's your friend? It's your friend? No, we are colleagues. And so my colleague, I'm going to meet each day. My friend, I'm going to meet once in a week or once in a month or once in 3 months. Because
Sure.
the person that we are working with is a colleague, is not a friend. And that somehow has been a topic for me that why not? Why can I not have friendships and friends? So therefore, for me, my relationship with my wife, Pilu, is a dear friend of mine whom I'm married. And the only thing that I work on is our relationship as friend. And there are amazing number of challenges we face as friends. Because friends, we are friends. We fight, we disagree, we agree, we laugh, we cheer, we tear up, we get angry. But two friends do that, and
Sure.
the same happens with my son because my father, he used to call me Mitravar. He used to encourage me to call him Mitravar, which is Sanskrit for Mitra, Bandhu, Dost. And Mitra is something which really inspires me. My father used to ask me to take breakfast saying, Dostam Dost, have a little toast. So in fact, a WhatsApp group that I have with my closest friends is called Dostam Dost, DD. So friendship for me is something which you may have. Why won't you? As you meet, as you meet in life. I mean, why has, what is about friendship that you say that you cannot have? I mean, when you're going to order a pan, you're having a pan. Can you have, bhai sahab, kaise ho aap? Bandhu, kaise aap? That moment of friendship, and which comes back again at some point. And what is the extra you need to do? Do you need to give that blood? Does your blood need to match? Nothing of that is that. There's no dramatic in friendship. Friendship is that if you can be in symphony with that person, if you can feel for that person, if that person, and I'm saying it's an absolute one way thing, that if I can feel for you, that's it. I'm not expecting you to feel the same. And over a period of time, I've seen that amazing friendships are nurtured when you see reciprocation happening. Okay.
Sure.
But you don't do it in anticipation of reciprocation. You just do it. So you're just amazing in that moment. So you're even friends with this moment. So for example, this moment that we are shooting your 100th episode, Zarina, I experienced friendship with this moment. Just to let you know, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this in friendship of this time where we have agreed to meet and chat. And it happens to be your 100th episode, but therefore I don't tell people I'm happy for you. I just say I'm happy. I don't need to be happy for you. I don't need to qualify that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
and I completely second what you're saying. And I have to say that it's not just in this moment that I'm experiencing our friendship, but the fact that you motivated me and you encouraged me about my 100th episode and said, don't worry, it's going to be great. You showed me so much excitement and encouragement. And I think that kind of support, Ashish, is also a form of friendship. It doesn't always have to be said in words like happy or sad, or like you said, clarity. Everything doesn't have to be in a clear, systematic form or definitive way of expression.
Yeah, in fact, what you said makes a lot. See, this entire term, as you said, indefinite way.
Yeah.
So defined way. So, for example, parenting in a defined way.
Yes.
Friendship in a defined way. So, what is the defined way? It is worked for someone. Okay, it worked for someone. Great. That same thing didn't work for someone else. What do you do about it? So, in fact, with art, not just with art. I mean, if I say even my relationship with Pilu, I play that relationship. I'm playing in that relationship. I'm playing as an actor in my career as an actor. I'm playing in my career as a motivational speaker. I'm playing as a traveler. Each of these things is a personal rendition, Zarina. And when we get that this is going to be my personal rendition, where someone else judging actually doesn't matter, because I get to pay my bills. Okay, I get to enjoy or I get to suffer. The choice is completely mine. But can I paint what I wish to? Can I draw what I wish to? And when we are in a relationship, that's when the interesting part is that can you inspire your partner, your friend to join in a creation? And there's a fantastic tug that happens. Even with Arth this morning also, I'll say, hey, Mo, would just return the calls here. And I said, Baba, I told you I'm an exam. I got that. All right. So, but we are negotiating. He's negotiating his thing. I'm negotiating my thing. But imagine the power of communication which is there. It's not ideal. It's not like it should happen that way, really. Whatever he thinks, it should happen, really. Whatever I think should happen, really. And that's how life is, Zarina. We are in continuous negotiation with life. And negotiation doesn't, in its actual sense, is not meaning that I get the best out of it. It is that I leaving something on the table. So that even you experience victory. Even Arth experiences victory. Even Pilu experiences victory. And when negotiations break down, when somebody wants to take it on, the same is for parenting. Yes, there are pressures where people say, for example, in this entire period of this lockdown, Arth has been in Berkeley, and all his friends and his classmates and his roommates returned back to India. And we had a word with him, and he shared, Baba, I think I'll remain here. I will remain here. I said, I'm with you. And I said, and I also tell you that because for me, I'd rather you be at the place where you are in action. And he said, yes, Baba, because I'm studying here. I need to come back. But I don't want to be like in a place of, I don't know whether I should not. Now, so many people have spoken to me since then saying that, hey, you must get him back and stuff like that. And the only thing I've shared with them is that I got your concern. And trust me, that is my concern too. But at this point, I don't want to be right. I just want to dance with this scenario. And I see what Arth is doing, and I'm seeing him responsible of taking care. And he's lived 4 months completely alone in his place, no one else around him, and in a shutdown kind of a scenario. And the point of the matter is that if we give up on getting immediate victories, if I can give up my want to have an immediate victory, relationships are phenomenal, because in relationships, there are no immediate victories, but there's a long-term joy. And I'm practicing it. Am I always successful? Of course not. But I'm playing that game.
And you mentioned communication, the power and the importance of communication in a relationship.
Yeah.
What about trust and respect, Ashish? Because I'll give you an example. If you look back a couple generations, the idea of respecting your parents was not looking into their eyes, not asking questions, and not back answering. That was the idea of respect.
Sure.
Do you think over a period of time, the idea of respect, conversation, communication has changed? So your thoughts on respect and trust, really?
So trust and experience, respect, both have to be experienced.
Correct.
I mean, I can't say that, look, I trust you, and you are not experiencing trust. Something's wrong with it. It's all in experience. It's not, I trust you, and then I do things which you experience. I think, listen, I have a feeling that you're not trusting me. So everything lies in the person experiencing it. The same is true of communication. Communication for me is not speaking. Communication is being responsible for what is being heard.
Sure.
And therefore the importance of it. Therefore the importance of it. In fact, I personally believe in over-communication.
Over-communication.
Absolutely. Because what...
Do tell.
Yes. Because over-communication is that making sure. I mean, it's not like... Because let's get this. Here, we as human beings, we hear what we want to hear.
Right.
You say, it's kind of, it's like pathetic times, Anyway, sab theek ho jayega. But you will hear something which you wanted to hear, whatever that I said in this line. Pathetic. Sab theek ho jayega, nahi sunai diya. Something will hang on to it. So we will choose what we wish to hear. So as a person communicating, it is my responsibility that I pierce through that fixed thing that may be there, and to actually communicate what I intend to. And therefore, the fact that when you, so in this world, who is listening matters to you. What is their mental condition should matter to you.
Right.
because I love you and go away. And that person, kya? Sorry, kya kuch kaha? Doesn't matter because it didn't reach.
Yeah.
So therefore it is, and communication, of course, is not just limited to words, hugely to do with actions.
Of course.
Yeah, and that's where we say that your words and actions match. Are you walking? Are you walking the talk? All right. And therefore it is challenging. So this is not an ideal world. And who said that there is an ideal world in any case? So therefore, for me, communication is, and when you spoke of trust and respect are to be, again, to be experienced. And many people, when we talk of respect, is that, okay, yeah, but you to earn your respect. And it's a very painful thing. Try earning it. It's very, very difficult to earn respect. What I really feel is that when you do something for what's in it, and I want something in return for it.
Yeah.
Problem. Because you're continuously regulating how much I am ready to walk 5 steps. If you walk 5 steps, who's going to count those 5 steps? I'm going counting my steps and your steps. All right. And you are counting your steps and my steps. And therefore, for me, the responsibility is mine. And what I share with people, in my conversations is that the responsibility is mine, your mind, my mind. And so my relationship with Mowgli is dependent on me. My responsibility, my relationship with Pilu is dependent on me. If there's a breakdown, I caused it. I had to find ways. I had to find ways to get out of it. Make sure that whatever change that I wish to make, I need to make. But remember, only I can't do it, and therefore I negotiate. Right? And for long enough time, and if you manage to do it well, you inspire others to also find a stake in it. So it is, if we can create a stake for us individually. So, for example, for me, as an actor, till I got a stake in the work that I'm doing, then I was just doing a job.
Right.
So therefore, for me, I never do anything for Pilu. I never do anything for Pilu. I never do anything for Arth. I only do it for myself because I have put a stake in the stuff that I do. So therefore, I'll never be able to tell them, look, I did this for you. I never did this for you. So even at work, Zarina, my work is for myself. My work is not for someone else. And therefore, I own it. Therefore, it's my responsibility, my personal take for it. So as I was saying, that it's my pleasure that I'm here for your 100th episode.
Right.
I'm happy to be part of it.
There's something we learn in neuro-linguistic programming, that we tend to perceive our own realities. So each one has a different reality. And I believe the way you've put it across is exactly that each one's reality is different, and we're all selective listeners. And trust, communication, respect, they're all just so intertwined. And I think when you over-communicate, you know how much you can trust somebody, respect somebody, and that grows with you, right?
But suppose it's not even about testing. It's not even about... Okay, can I just break it down into very, very simple thing?
Oh, yes, please.
So imagine, Zarina, it's about getting something done. Do you like curry chawal?
Yeah.
I love
no
curry.
doubt.
Yeah, I love curry. I love curry, but I don't know how to make it.
Right.
So my job in life is to, since I love curry, to organize that I have curry. That's my responsibility. That's it. Now,
that's simple and perfect.
Right. You want a happy life? Go at it. Organize it. You also get one of the few things in life is that you cannot be happy alone. So between Pidu and me, if I say that I want happiness, and my happiness is if Pidu is doing exactly what I want her to do, my happiness is that Arth is doing exactly what I wanted to do, I lost my case somewhere. The game is for me to really get that somewhere it's going to be a game in which the three of us are enjoying.
Right.
Imagine at a place of work, if you really get that your team, if you think that your team is going to do only the things that you want them to do, and then you'll be great. You lost some pieces there. Because they're just waiting for a moment to either step out or you to step out. So life for me is continuous negotiation. Negotiation can only happen through communication, by you let people know what is it that you are expecting and listen to what is it that they are expecting. And at some point, connecting. So you and I, Zarina, in this conversation, you have a dream episode which is coming up. I have certain dreams that I want to communicate. Imagine when dreams come together, that's when something amazing gets created. So as I communicate with my son, there's so many things that I wish to do with him. One of the things is to travel with him, and he jokes with me. He really pulls my leg. So I know you're going to say, it's amazing, Mogu. It's amazing. He pulls my leg. That's how I speak. Mogu, it's great. Yeah, it's wonderful talking to you. Mogu, I really want to travel with you. I want to travel, have coffee and burger with you. That's what I tell him. That's my idea of life. And imagine Pilu has to deal with it. She has to say, I really want to travel here. I want to travel with Mogu. The three of us will sit, have burgers and coffee. Now imagine. Now, in this world, in this weird world, if as I keep communicating, I'm also creating a world. I'm creating a world. I'm also letting them know what is it that inspires me. And inside of that, Piru shares things. But I also love to do that. And then okay, you are the listening, and Earth says, okay, I want to do this, okay. And now we are dreaming, but we are sharing our dreams, my friend. Now, some people may not be as articulate as some talkative people like me, but I encourage people to share your dreams. Because who knows, Zarina, who knows, as you share, somebody else's dreams may get lit up. Life is much more than what you think is due to you. That's where, therefore, you're not testing life; you're living it. And over the years, I'm really now, if one shift has happened in the last 6 years, is that as I came into this world of speaking to organizations, speaking to groups of people, encouraging people to celebrate their unique life, I actually began by celebrating my unique life. Not being stopped by someone who asked me, and I will share with you. As I began this journey, I went into a very large organization, and the CHRO had invited me over. And we had wonderful coffee. It was a lovely room overlooking a fantastic view. And then he called his team in, the minus ones. As they sat with me, the gentleman asked me the first question, amazing question. I spoke a bit about what I intend to do. I think it was about 6 years back. And the first question he asked was, are you certified? And the moment he completed the word, are you certified? I said, no. And then for the next 2.5, 3 minutes, he was thinking of the exit line, and he thought of it and he spoke it. He said, hey, listen, I just get back to my meeting. And the four of them left.
Okay.
Now, something very interesting came up for me, Zarina. Is that each one of us, as we try and live a life which we want to, there will be people who will be asking you if you're qualified to live it, if you're certified to live it. You must have the audacity to believe that you have. You have the capacity. You have the possibility. You have the strength and the perseverance to do that. Same is true of parenting. Same is true of relationship. People do ask me, well, is this the way? I say, I don't know, but I'm living in this way. Is this the way that, Pilu and you, we just do mad things. We just, before this lockdown, we just travel. Through my acting career, I would just take 2 days off. Pilu and I would go somewhere. We just do things. Sometimes driving, sometimes just taking something, sometimes just taking snapshots. We've been stealing time from life to do things that inspire us. And then it may not fit into the truth and reality for others.
Correct.
I'm not saying, because you have to get that this is not the only reality, but if you're seeing something in it, allow it to show. And therefore, your passion, communicate your passion with your life. And things move, people around you get moved. And they make shifts. And then you make shifts by seeing what they have done. The communication for me is your and my ability to inspire life and get inspired by it.
That's beautifully put. And you mentioned that you had a very strong relationship with your father, right? So is there any piece of advice that passes on as a piece of legacy, from your father to you, to your son?
So one thing which I got again is that I always wanted to be like my father. I was so inspired by him. till I got that he never wanted me to be like him. He didn't want me to be a clone of his. And then I gave up that Sisyphus kind of an effort of mine. Sisyphus, the guy who rolls up that stone for it to roll down again on the other side. So I was continuously failing to be like my father. Till one day I got that my father never wanted me to be a clone of him. And then I got that my father was a unique, amazing Govind Vidyarthi. And I said, I'll be an amazing Ashish Vidyarthi. And that's something which I share with that. I said that I will keep sharing with you the things that I've seen. And I want you, I get it, that you will be an extraordinary version of yourself. And I'm available for you, doing all those things that I'm doing. And I'm not an ideal father. No, I'm not. I'm not as good as a father as my father was. I'm not as good as that other father or that. This is this father that you've got. And this father who doesn't know all the answers, but will check and will let you know what works and what doesn't work. And then we'll discuss. And that's how I work. Because I don't know the answers. So rather than feigning that I know the answers, I let him know that I don't know the answers and say that, hey, let's find out. And let's take action. Certain things that I've seen, hey, I think you could probably have a look at this. Great, wonderful. So allow yourself to be surprised. So for me, the messages are therefore dangerous because messages will at some point say that I know the way, which I don't. And even if I know the way it's worked for me, it doesn't mean it'll work for you. The only thing that I say is that since the human mind is ticking differently, don't stop yourself from ticking your way. Remember, you have to pay your bills. Very important. Don't forget that. Bills are
that's the most important. Crucial piece of information.
Bills are a truth. You need to pay for your dreams. So
you do.
Have a method to your madness. Madness is a must, Zarina, because without madness, everything will be boring, my friend.
Yeah. Chaos can be beautiful if people know how to deal with it. And I think as human beings...
Zarina, there is chaos.
All the time.
There is.
Right, Ashish?
And the point is for you to weave your way through it.
Right. Absolutely.
So, I mean, let your hair down. Do what you want. Then get back to it. I mean, this get back to you is, I want to pay. Is there, for example, try paying, nowadays people don't sign checkbooks, but
yes,
try and transferring money somewhere and just instead of monies, write passion. In madness. Won't work. It needs a figure. That figure needs to be earned. Okay, that figure needs to be earned. And then imagine, Zarina, you know what inspires me? Imagine if you get that with your uniqueness you can earn. Typically people think that to earn, I have to be that way. Most welcome. If you're happy doing it, go for it. If you're not, find out. Maybe what makes you happy can also make you earn that figure.
Mm-hmm.
So don't limit yourself saying that there is only one way to earn.
Yeah. In fact, Ashish, there's no one way to do anything, right? Like you mentioned, parenting or earning or friendship and everything around the crux of what you mentioned is communication. There's no one way even to communicate. You can communicate in so many ways. So I completely agree with you on this. You have to try and not limit yourself. In fact, push yourself beyond the limit that you've created.
Yeah.
Right?
And Zarina, the thing here is that, push yourself in which direction.
Mm-hmm. That's important.
And you will know. Even in this conversation, whoever is listening in, like for example, as I'm listening to you and I'm kind of looking into me, there are directions that I see myself being drawn towards. That's a direction I want to push myself towards. All right. So,
right.
But, you and I know which direction we want to push ourselves and pull, whatever. But what I mean to say is you're not going to hold yourself back saying, correct, I don't know whether it is. Pata nahi hai, kisi ko nahi pata. Imagine if you do not have you don't need to have the onus of getting it right.
Right. Certainly.
Yeah.
What pearls of wisdom would you like to share with our listeners, Ashish? I know it sounds very wise, but you are a wise man, and I just love listening to you, to be honest with you. I love listening to you. So, okay, whatever you'd like to call it.
Don't pearl.
I won't pearl you, but whatever you'd like to call it. But I think pearls of wisdom sounds very interesting, and anybody who's listening, they usually go like, yeah, okay, now this is the part I want to definitely pay attention to.
Rewind the stock. we shared some interesting things. No, actually, Zarina, just imagine if you get that there are no rules. There is no one way. There is no one way of anything. And even as I say that, I really want people to get that. Get it in the spirit in which I'm speaking. There are things which are unlawful. Don't go there. There are things that your mind is very clearly saying are illegal. Don't go there. There are things in your mind which you know are shortcuts, which seem too good to be true. Don't go there. I mean, the mind is telling us everything, Zarina, everything. We then try and create a logic out of it.
Right.
So be it with parenting, be it with relationships, be it with your career, be it with anything that you wish to do in your life, you actually know when to ask someone for it. And then you'll also be able to, like, for example, people say, but I trusted that person. You didn't trust that person. You were just too lazy because that sounded too easy for you. So you kept nodding. So at that point also, if you're ready to engage with life, for me, the important part is, are you engaging with life? So I'm in this conversation with you. I'm not here just for you to ask me questions and I'll say something. I'm engaging with life as you ask me questions. Right. So engaging with life allows you to create something with who you are at this moment.
Mm-hmm. Perhaps a belief that you really swear by. This was great. This was a great piece of advice, to be honest. Usually you always have people telling you what you should do, but what you should stay away from, what you shouldn't indulge in. That is something that I'm listening to for the first time, and I'm taking that piece of advice from you also.
See, the greatest joy, Zarina, is when you developed in areas that you wanted to, but you could not. Mm-hmm. The greatest joy, your victory, that Olympic runner, that 100 meters, whatever, that 9 point something. The joy is in doing a 9.4 when earlier I was only managing a 9.6. So the joy is, and for someone else, a 9.6 is a dream. How can you do that? But for that person, that 9.6 is done, done and dusted. If I can do it in 9.4. So therefore, my standards are set by me. Your standards are set by you. And that could be in relationships. That could be in any area. It could be to do with your weight.
Yeah, that's a topic.
With your money. It could be with your monies. It could be with your relationships, with your career. It's my personal thing. And create victories for yourself in that. See, a whole lot of stuff that I'm sharing with you, Zarina, is a potpourri of thoughts. And, on my YouTube channel, which is Ashish Vidyarthi Official, I keep sharing thoughts on life. Because life is simple if you do not want to complicate it.
True. So where can we actually listen to you, Ashish? Like you mentioned, your YouTube channel. How do we follow you?
Yeah, so kind of, yes. I put up some interesting thoughts nearly every alternate day on my YouTube channel. It's called Ashish Vidyarthi Official. And of course on LinkedIn and on Instagram, I'm on Ashish Vidyarthi 1. And Twitter, I'm Ashish Vid. Essentially, I am inspired that there is one life. If there is one life, can I do many things in that life? Because most of us, all of us are clear that abhi nahi hoga, ab nahi hoga. Now it is left to the next generation or to the next life. But let us replace regret with action. So that's the topic of most of my chats that I share with videos. That keep negotiating. You also negotiate with yourself. Find a crack in that theory of yours, because of which you say that you can't. Find a crack in that theory. Give yourself a ray of light, which you have been missing. That's my responsibility. It's my responsibility to give myself hope. And as we go about nourishing ourselves, our journey becomes amazing. To share with you, see, as I also, apart from this, I do interactions with CXOs and
Right.
stuff like that. With each set of people, the conversation that I'm having is altered depending on who is listening to it. All right. And now, why is that important? The point is not what you want to say. The point is how you are communicating that.
Mhm.
Are you speaking to a listening? Are you causing a shift for that person, what that person is dealing with? So life is all about service, Zarina, and you know that. You cause a shift for somebody, that person is going to say, wow, well done. And that's how you're going to grow. So it could be a professional relationship, it could be a personal relationship, it could be your career, it could be your money. The more people you manage to impact in a way that is so unique to you, I promise you, each one of us, when we get that, we can impact in our own. Because as much as I have tried, as I wanted to, I could never become like that other guy. I cannot ever be a Zarina Poonawalla. I can never be. But I can be an extraordinary me. Oh, what an amazing me I can be. So I put myself as that. Can I be this extraordinary father, this extraordinary husband, this extraordinary friend, this extraordinary traveler, communicator, naughty person, photographer, writer, blogger, this one. And when that is there, then I'm free, man. I'm not competing with anybody else.
Right.
I'm okay with mistakes. I made the mistake. Yeah. Shucks. Yeah. I'm sorry, Mo. I'm very, very sorry. Sorry. I am sorry. Okay. And I will create some new ways and take help. I will ask people. So I continuously communicate. So when I'm slipping, when I slip, especially when I'm slipping regularly, I reach out.
Right.
I love to break my rhythm. If I'm slipping again and again, means that there's something which I'm overlooking, which I cannot see at all, which are the blind spots. So just like I coach people, I coach sets of people, I also allow myself to be coached. It's a privilege to be coached. Allow somebody to listen into something which you haven't seen. One life, Zarina Poonawalla. In that one life, imagine if you can reach out to the resources around you. And the world is rich.
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And since you mentioned the whole coaching aspect and considering the profession that I come from, I think it's extremely fulfilling.
Yeah.
That feeling is extremely fulfilling. And I don't know, it gives you purpose, makes you feel very purposeful by the end of the day. When I'm sure you know how it is when you're impacting people's lives, or you can see a positive shift or a shift of some sort, something's changing. Yeah. And you feel fulfilled, you feel purposeful, like, yes, this is something that I want to do with my life, and I want to make the most of it. And
Zarina, lately another thing has struck me, and I will share that, is that when you make a difference to people and those people grow in their lives, another extraordinary thing happens. Haven't you seen many things that you wish to deal with as issues and things in life? Haven't you found them? So many things are happening in the world. Oh, yeah, somebody reaches, can you do something for us? Can you do something? No. Of those 25 things, at least 20 of those I find are really worth it. So something can make a difference to it. Isn't that the same for you also?
Yes.
So all of us, even who are listening, if you get that there are so many things which need your attention. Like, if only I could do something. Now, I found something very interesting, in the profession that, which you and I are in also, is that when we reach out and create extraordinary versions, help people find extraordinary versions of themselves, and when we touch thousands, imagine so many of them are doing the things that you and I wished to do, but didn't have time to. But we have lit up somebody who's fulfilling that. And that really allows you to get that, hey, listen, I've been doing a lot more than I've acknowledged myself for. I know for a fact that the work that you do, how many families you would have made sure that they are still together, they're taking care of each other. How many businesses you would have impacted, that people feel great. How many marriages you have saved. children would have had parents together. Or at times when people have moved on when it didn't work out. So just imagine the width, the breadth of the impact. And if we really look at each one of us, whichever profession we are in. So when I do my talks with organizations, so a few years back, I was doing a conversation with an organization which was making these wires which prevent sparking.
Right.
And in the midst of the talk, I shared with them, I said, are you even aware how many lives that you have saved and people haven't even thanked you because they didn't even come to know?
Right.
Because it sparked that your product was so good that they didn't ever come to know and they're alive. Now imagine when you can have a stake in your day at your work, knowing that there may be very many people who will never ever get to even know that I supported them with karma or whatever. I know that I did something special. I lit up something for someone. And that's the way I look at it. And as you began, you said something very interesting. Yes, life is only what it seems to you. There is no reality in it, my friend. It's what seems to you. If it feels very dull and ungrateful, congratulations. You've got a dull and ungrateful life. You find it rich and generous, congratulations. You have a rich and generous life. What I've discovered is that what is it that I say about my life is the way my life is. Because whatever I say, I will find proof of it.
You're right. Absolutely correct. I completely agree with that thought. And Ashish, the 100th episode is coming to an end, and wow. I cannot leave you or let you go without answering our signature question. So, the Empowering series celebrating its 100th episode with you, and we can't let you go without you telling us what empowers you, Ashish.
Smile. Simple smiles. I've seen people smile with very less. Smile for me is a sign of being grateful to the universe and feeling rich at this moment. So I smile a lot. And I love it when I can bring a smile to people. And the best part about a smile is that if somebody asks you, why are you smiling? You will then put some logic to it. But as I'm speaking to you, I see a smile on your face. And
yes.
Feels great. I love it. Smile inspires me.
Fantastic. Ashish, thank you so very much. And I really can't thank you enough. You've made this so special for me. And you can imagine this is my first podcast. I started in 2017 and we're in season 2. Yeah. And we're in season 200th episode. And this is very important to me. So thank you for being part of this. Thank you for sharing your invaluable thoughts and such wonderful insights on life, relationships, communication, and everything that you have come with, everything that you've said. So I'm going to go back to the beginning of what I said today, that you are a stalwart and a true inspiration. And thank you for inspiring me today and empowering me today, Ashish.
बहुत shukriya, Zarina. And I'm happy that a letter, which was published a few years back, is finding new expression even today. And let's keep sharing stories, dear friends. Let's keep lighting up lives. Cheers.
If you liked this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM Network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I want to remind our Tamil-speaking audience about the new show from Kadai Podcast. The previous season was Punyan Selvan. The new show that we're doing is Sivakamyan Sabata. Kavita Jiva, who's the host of this show, basically what she does is she retells these old classics in a modern idiom. I think you'll really enjoy that. Quickly running through some of the other guests that we had this week, Luke Catino showed up on Cyrus Says, where he and Cyrus had a great conversation about fitness and all things related to that. Rahul Dakuna was on Gauri Devi Dayal's show. This rounds on me. Again, great conversation around brands and things like that. Maruti Nayat had Kaveri Banzai on her show to discuss Sushant Singh Rajput's death and the effect it's going to have on Bollywood as it goes forward. Archana Vora, who is a director of small and medium businesses at Facebook, she was on Advertising is Dead talking about the kinds of work that Facebook is doing with smaller businesses. And remember, Edges and Sledges continues its fan series. Do definitely check that out. And last, one final thing, that Cock and Bull this week was really interesting. Cyrus, Kunal Vijayakar, Gauri Devi Dayal and myself spoke quite a bit about the restaurant industry and the challenges that they're facing in this pandemic. So do definitely check that out. I think you'll enjoy that. And with that, I hope to see you again next week.
Namaskar, this is Ashish Vidyarthi. Yes, my friend, these are challenging times, but in these challenging times, we can create something extraordinary. Do take time to listen to my podcast, Begin the Journey, available on the IVM Podcast, website, app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, we have a great opportunity called life. Cheers.